welcome to the Cruising is Life podcast. Whether you're a seasoned cruiser or just starting out, we have something for everyone. So sit back, relax, and get ready to set sail with us on the Cruising is Life podcast.
Great. Hello, everyone. I'm sorry, I made a stupid face. I made a stupid face. I'm so sorry to everybody that's now just listening to this. I made a dumb face when I hit the intro button. Justin saw it. We've been trying not to laugh. Oh, I'm crying. All right. Welcome, everyone, to the Cruising is Life podcast. We are joined by our regular co-hosts, Dimitri and Justin, and we also have our special guest, Robbie. How's it going, buddy?
What's up?
And Robbie's actually coming live from Norwegian Joy.
Yeah, must be nice
for today's topic.
You're jealous.
Yes, for sure. But yeah, so today we're gonna deep dive all into Norwegian Cruise Line and their fleet and just all their ships. You know, backgrounds on each of these ships, the ins and out, and of course, I feel like Robbie's probably the person to have on here for this because I don't want to know how many NCL cruises you've been on.
I don't even know. Collaborate.
I don't even know. But the fact that he's coming to us live from the Joy saying something, which was completely unplanned. But yeah, so we're gonna start from like the oldest and kind of work our way all the way up to the newest, including the Prima class. And we don't really know a whole lot about the next gen project, those big boys that they've got coming, but if we have a little bit, then we'll talk a little bit, or at least kind of like pitch ideas of what we've got. So we'll start with the Spirit. That's kind of the oldest one in the fleet. That's the smallest, is it not?
It is.
Very cool. And that one's like that one got transferred into the fleet like a long time ago, wasn't it? That was originally with a Chinese cruise line?
Yeah. It was originally Superstar Leo with Star Cruises, which actually was part of the Norwegian family. It was like that Genting Holdings company, which is now Resort World. But I think they split up at some point, like early 2000s, and they kind of split up the ships a bit.
Gotcha. Yeah, it was probably a good move, seeing that company filed bankruptcy a couple of years ago. It's probably a good move on Norwegian's part.
Well, there is still a sister to the Spirit that's sailing for Resorts World. I think it's Resorts World
right.
1.
Really?
Creative name.
Ship. Yeah.
Creative name. It's like those new Explorer ships from MSC, that little like yacht subsidiary or whatever they did, Explorer 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. In Mind Shift.
Yeah. Relax.
Yeah, and then 1 through 7, and then there's Relax. That's what they said when they. That's what they said when they were naming these. Like, all right, you gotta relax, man. We don't need 8.
Real. And he's like, that's perfect.
That's a great name. That's a great name. Slap it on the show.
Going back to Spirit, I do like how they're doing like the exotic stuff with it though, and not just keeping it on the boring 7-night stuff. It's everywhere.
Yeah, that's one really cool thing that Norwegian does that not really a lot of the other big companies do, is all these like longer, more exotic ones, especially with their older ones. Because
I'm not sure if it's been like published recently, but the Spirit is kind of going through what the Joy just went through to become more of an American ship. The Spirit.
Uh-oh.
Oh, like a Chinese rental.
It was getting good. It was getting good.
We've had him for like the last 20 minutes, and it finally froze.
Yeah, what the heck? Robbie, we missed all of that.
He's back. He's alive.
Yeah, so the Spirit is actually transitioning back into an Asian market ship, and they're kind of getting more than like 90% Asian crew, and they're kind of changing lettering and wording on the ship. I mean, nothing close to what Joy went through, but like it's going to be more of that Asian market ship going forward again.
Interesting. That's
nice.
I feel like a lot of people. I don't know if this is case truly, but they say that the Joy actually, the demand in Alaska was so high, that's why they pulled her out of there. Is that actually accurate, or is it?
At the time, it was. I think kind of over the years, that changed a bit because obviously Alaska is like so oversaturated at the moment with pretty
Yeah.
much every cruise line. But I think at the time it was so competitive, they just wanted that second Breakaway Plus class ship. And I knew eventually the Joy was going to come back over to the US, but I think they just kind of expedite that because at the time it was such a popular market.
Yeah, once the Bliss hit the market, it just exploded. And I feel like that's really what drove Alaska to where it's at right now.
Yeah, I agree.
Also, thank you, Brady, for the $6.90 for the
I love you,
super
Brady.
chat. It says, welcome to goat status, Robbie. I love it. He calls us the goats. And one really cool thing about Spirit is that they actually changed the hull art on her like a couple years ago, which I actually really like it now.
I like it, yeah.
It's a little bit cleaner of a look.
It was like, yeah, I agree. And now that they have the Getaway, it was kind of similar, just like different colors. It was that like mermaid,
right?
Before.
Yeah, Justin loves mermaids.
I love mermaids.
He got his picture taken in Coco Cay with a mermaid.
Best day ever.
That was a day. Bro did not have a drink. Like, there was not a drink not in that guy's hand all day.
All day? The whole cruise?
The whole cruise too. But yeah, that was especially a interesting day in Coco Cay with them getting his picture taken with the mermaid.
I love mermaids.
But yeah, like switching back again to the we always get off topic here, but switching back to the Spirit, I feel the hull artwork on it though is like, it's a really clean. I like the light blue and kind of going to more of a unique style of cruising when it comes to just doing those really long and open itineraries that it's doing.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, the last time I was on Spirit, it was in 2022, and I did one of those open jaw cruises. We started in actually Tahiti, French Polynesia, and we ended in Hawaii.
Oh, that's kind
so
of sick.
It really does those long, exotic, those like super exotic cruises.
Yeah, I don't remember which one it was, but there's one ship that they've got doing like, it's like going Dubai to like South Africa and then like back or something.
Dawn or Jewel?
Like, it's one of those.
Yeah,
two.
the Dawn.
Oh, okay.
Dawn.
So, that wasn't. I was like, maybe I'm seeing things or hearing things, but I could have sworn that was something. So I'm glad that.
Yeah, no, I think it's actually happening.
Yeah.
We lost him again.
There it goes.
Am I back?
Yeah, you're good. It's funny before the
Dawn is
podcast.
going to be back in the U.S. for. I can't even, it's not even on the schedule through 2026 to be back in the U.S. It's just going to be doing pretty much the whole world, which is wild.
That's awesome. That's kind of cool though.
Yeah.
Like just doing. I had seen an article like about them just doing all these crazy itineraries, and I feel like that's what those ships are really made for. Is anything older than the Epic, I feel like those are what's really made for that type of cruising. They're more the old school traditional type cruising, and they're also just made for longer ones. They draw that crowd in.
Yeah, those ships have such a different vibe.
Right.
What was that?
You're on a completely different MCF.
Sorry, continue.
What were you
Or
saying,
not.
Dimitri?
I was going to say, what was that news a couple months ago about Spirit canceling a whole bunch of cruises with Epic? We won't get there till Epic, but didn't Spirit like cancel a whole bunch, like a whole season or something? Is that because she's going to the Chinese market? Is that why?
I think that was more of like with the Epic specifically, it was like the kind of drama over there right now. They didn't want to stop in any places with like conflict. that they think they changed her back to Port Canaveral again for that entire season.
Got it.
Oh, right. Yeah. That's why we got Epic last year. Because that's why she sailed out of Terminal 3 in Canaveral, because we didn't have anywhere else to put her. But yeah, I think that's why we got Epic last year, because we were supposed to just get her for the first time, well, in a while this year, but we ended up getting her a year early. And the next year we're getting double Norwegian, which is awesome. I feel like we haven't had that. Well, we had it last season, but I feel like they don't really give us too much here in Canaveral.
True.
Yeah, it's like slowly starting to ramp up.
Yeah. Plus, we got that new terminal coming. I think Joy is scheduled to be one of the first ships to use the new terminal in Canaveral. I don't know if that's public knowledge, but I guess it is now. Yeah, I didn't know I was supposed to say that.
On that terminal.
Come on, man.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Tyler told me
Now
that.
they're never going to trust us.
Tyler told me that.
When we watch this later.
No,
Randy goes down, we all go down.
I'm taking him down. I'm taking my sources down with me.
Brutal, man. Brutal.
No, I'm pretty sure. I don't think they didn't really say when it's going to open up, but to my knowledge, I think Joy's probably one of the first ones to use that new terminal. Just a matter of when it opens is really what it is. But yeah, so right, exactly. Because once they announced that contract with the Grandiosa, then they're like, oh, we have 7 ships on schedule for Saturdays. We do not have 7 terminals. So they're like, you better finish that.
I also was looking, Brandon. So Virtuosa is going out of New York. Is she supposed to be there on the weekends in Canaveral, or is she being like a Monday or Tuesday ship?
Out of New York?
Was it New York, or she's making like stops on the way down to like Southern Caribbean where she's cruising? I don't know. There was like a slew of things that popped up of her stopping there on the website when I was looking yesterday when I was sending you that stuff.
Gotcha. I'm sure it's probably during the week then.
okay.
That's usually when the New York ships do it. It's just weird that that Royal does it with Oasis and Symphony, because they start the cruises on Fridays for whatever reason that is out of New York during the summertime. That's what puts them in Canaveral on Sundays, which I'm not complaining, but at the same time, it's super weird that they do that.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of Norwegian, though, they don't bring their ships into Canaveral as port stops anymore. I'm kind of bummed about that.
Yeah, what's up with that?
Come on, Robbie, enlighten us.
Yeah, Robbie.
Oh,
he's back.
He's back.
Maybe
not. Okay, well, they'd rather just go to Bermuda and say nothing else to anybody.
I mean, Bermuda's pretty nice. I mean, I haven't been to Bermuda. That's definitely on my list, but...
Yeah, Bermuda is definitely on my list, too.
Yeah. Eventually, I'm going to get up to New York and do that. That's probably a lot more feasible than the other things on my bucket list, so I will probably try to do that, in the next maybe couple of years or so.
Okay, nice.
Yeah,
there
Brady.
he is. Yeah, I don't know if you heard earlier, but do you know why they stopped bringing like the New York ships down to Canaveral for, port stops, or they just not like us?
I think Norwegian is kind of going for those longer, I mean, Bermuda is always going to be popular from New York.
Right.
But I think they were kind of on the off season trying to get to the Southern Caribbean more.
Gotcha. That makes a little bit more sense. Canaveral's not really... I've never really thought of Canaveral as like a port stop anyways. I was always kind of surprised when ships do it. And I was surprised in the first place when I learned that they do it.
And I'm surprised that they stopped, because that was always a huge... I mean, especially leaving from New York in the winter, the prices for pretty much everything that the ship takes on is so much higher in New York, especially fuel. So that was always like a big turnaround spot. Even though it was like a port of call, they did most of their like provisioning and fueling in Port Canaveral.
Right. I remember last year. One example was last year. Anthem. I don't know why Anthem was so late, but she didn't come into Port Canaveral till 5 p.m. when she was scheduled for like 11 o'clock in the morning. But she still came in at 5 p.m. and still left at 8. Where like she pretty much did a touch and go basically, but she fueled the whole time she was there. So it was probably like she had to go in there for fuel just so she could at least get something. Which
I remember in the past when the Breakaway was in New York, they would do the Western Caribbean from New York, like Cozumel, Costa Maya, Roatan, but they also had to stop in Port Canaveral.
That's got to be a really long cruise.
Yeah, for sure. At least
they were 14 days.
I was gonna say 14.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I mean it takes a couple days just to get down to Canaveral, so I'm sure 14. You do 7, like a normal 7-night itinerary through the Caribbean, and then make your way back up.
And that's also back when you can pretty much predict all of Norwegian's itineraries that they were going to release. It was just a matter of which ship. Now it's like you can't predict anything because they're changing up so much. I mean, New York is going to have the Getaway next year for Bermuda, which I'm completely bummed about. But
I don't know why they did that.
It's a hot topic for me.
Yeah, it makes about as much sense as Royal Caribbean putting the Odyssey, a warm weather Florida ship, up in New York, where they're sending all the other Quantum class with the indoor pools over to wherever. So I don't know what these cruise lines are doing, but it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Moving on to some other older ships, we'll do like the Sun class. Sun was recently here in Canaveral. I don't know where she's at now, but she's more in Asia too, isn't she?
Yeah, she's going to be doing pretty much what the Jewel was doing for a while, like Asia in the winter, and then doing the crossing from Asia back over to Alaska for the summer.
Okay, that's actually pretty cool though.
That is cool.
Because the Jewel did that for so many years. It did Vancouver to Seward, and then Seward back to Vancouver, the open leg.
That's cool.
Cruises in Alaska.
Brady with another $5 says 1 gallon of fuel for Dimitri's truck.
Brady, I love you. I drove almost 70 miles today. I appreciate you.
Oh my God.
Field trip.
I drove 1 mile to Chick-fil-A today.
And you didn't get money.
Ah, boy.
Yeah, it'd just be like that.
I went for lunch yesterday, so it's fine.
We love Chick-fil-A. But yeah, with Sun, I feel like it's really cool when they do those types of itineraries though, and I feel like Norwegian's probably the one that does it the most. I know Royal does too a little bit, but the open jaw Alaska cruises, where you do 7 days up and then 7 days back, I feel like that's the best way to do Alaska.
Yeah. Especially with stops in like Valdez and where they did like the Deadliest Catch. What's not Anchorage, but what's the other one called?
Sitka?
Dutch Harbor.
Oh, okay.
That's cool. I'd want to go there. Yeah. That'd be cool.
Yeah, that's like the one downside of some of the bigger ships is that they don't go in to some of these ports, and they also just don't get very far.
True. Yeah, I don't think they allow big ships in those ports at all.
Yeah, for sure. A lot of the ports are just getting overfilled anyways. True. I actually saw Sky this weekend, though. Speaking of the sister ship, I just saw Sky the other day out of Miami. What type of cruises is she doing? Because they took her off the 3 and 4s a long time ago.
She's on like 9 and 11 days to like Southern Caribbean, right?
Yep.
That's interesting for I guess it's Norwegian, so it doesn't surprise me. But I guess it's weird seeing a ship that small doing such a long Caribbean itinerary.
Yeah, it was actually in demand. I think that's why they did it. And of course, the 3 and 4 night cruises are just so. I mean, pretty much Carnival owns the 3 and 4 night cruises from South Florida.
Very true.
And I don't think they're going to compete with Sky against the Utopia and the Allure. I don't think that's going to work out too well in their favor. especially with
I
Coco
was
Cay
told,
and
I was
everything
always
too.
told they were always going to drop the 3 and 4 night cruises and pretty much not go back to them. But as of recently, I think they added a few cruises. I don't know if it was next year or the year after. The Getaway is going to be doing the short cruises
Mhm.
from South Florida. I think Miami.
Yeah.
Yes, Breakaway is going to do it for
It's
like
going
a
to be
month out
splitting
of Canaveral.
time.
It's weird. Breakaway's doing
Yeah.
like she goes to New York for a little bit, and then she comes down to Port Canaveral for like a month and does 3 and 4 night cruises, but they don't line up on like a normal 3 and 4 night cruise schedule. Like she's doing like Tuesday to Thursday or something like that, or Tuesday to I don't know, whatever, something like that. But it's super weird. She does it for like a month, then she just goes back up to New York. It doesn't make a
Yeah,
lot
they
of
did that
sense.
the last couple of years. They're doing that with the Escape next year. It's splitting time between Miami and New York, and then the Getaway splitting time between Miami and New York. I'm not sure what their method to their madness is, but
Yeah,
that's the big
it's
thing
definitely
recently.
yeah, definitely. I have no idea what their their method is, but it's definitely a lot of madness.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the Sky and the Sun are kind of well, they're not quite the smallest, but they're definitely one of the older ones. You know, around what 70,000 tons or so. Is there
Yeah.
any like notable like huge like big like restaurants, recent upgrades, things like that from those ships or?
I don't think so.
Really, the Sky just got pretty much 2 big refurbishments within the last 5 years. So I mean, she's pretty up to date compared to there's really no comparison, but she looks pretty good right now. The
Yeah,
Sun
actually,
kind
she
of
did
still
look
needs
really
some work.
good. She looked better than the Sunrise. Well, Sunrise didn't look bad either. It was just more she was in really good shape from what she looked like. But it's
Well,
good to see. I mean,
the Sky just wrapped up a season in Punta Cana as well. It was doing round trip cruises from La Romana this past
wow,
winter.
that's really cool.
I heard they
Actually.
fixed that area up real nice.
The La Romana area.
Yeah, just like they did for Amber Cove.
That's good. Yeah, the first time I ever visited La Romana, I didn't think I was gonna make it out of there. It was rough. I think it was on the Valor back in like 2012 or something like that. And our little, it was just a couple tents. So they're like, oh yeah, everybody just go to the buses over there and we'll take you downtown. And so we get in this little bus and there's like 3 bullet holes in the side windows. We're like, uh-oh. And then we get in, we get to this little like square and it's just a bunch of tables and people like with just stuff piled on the tables. We're like, where are we?
Right.
But yeah, but it's good that
That was pretty successful too.
Yeah, that's kind of surprising. I never really even thought about that or even having a market for something like that.
Yeah, they were trying to branch off of the sailing from Puerto Rico. So I think a bunch of airlines just added some direct flights from Puerto Rico to Dominican Republic. So I think they were kind of trying to piggyback off of that.
I don't
That's
blame
kind of
them.
cool. That's pretty cool. Did they have a ship in San Juan at the time or no?
And,
Interesting. So just kind of changing it up, starting mid-Caribbean anyways, and then that's kind of cool. I didn't even think something like that would be successful. I always figured San Juan was kind of like the main place for that.
yeah, I think it started after.
Oh, we lost them.
We lost you after you said started after. Come on, Norwegian, your Wi-Fi.
It's not Elon.
Yeah,
I don't think they got Starlink yet, do they?
What was that?
I don't think Joy has Starlink, does it?
It does, unfortunately.
Oh, it does.
Elon?
So it does. So we blame Elon.
Elon, it doesn't work.
Your Wi-Fi is crummy.
You do.
It's not too great.
It's better than Epic, clearly, but it's something.
For real. Jeez.
But yeah, as far as is there like any big features though, as far as like what's one of like the standout things that the Sun and the Sky have? Is it like mostly just like their old school style, or is it, you know, big fancy atriums, the restaurants, or they definitely don't have like slides or anything like that, but
Yeah, well, they still have like the atriums with the glass elevators,
that's cool.
and kind
That
of
I miss in new ships.
important, but like they still have a spinnaker.
A what?
I know most of the ships added the spinnaker lounge. They put cabins where the spinnaker lounge was. It's kind of observation lounge.
Jade still has it.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Brady with $2 says send this to Elon to repair Starlink.
For real.
But that's cool. I didn't know they had lounges like that. I mean, I sailed on Sky back in like 2009, so I really don't know a whole lot. I don't remember a whole lot from it.
Come on, Brandon.
But man, I'm trying to go with Norwegian more often. They got to fix their pricing.
So does Royal.
Yeah, Royal's getting
They all
off.
do.
They all do.
Carnival's not bad, but Carnival's never been bad as far as their pricing.
Yeah, but you're going on a Carnival cruise.
Exactly.
Hey, we're trying to
We cater to all companies here.
we cater to all
Okay.
all cruise
Okay.
lines. Who knows who's listening?
No one is.
None of them, because they don't invite us to media tours.
Nope, we're just not good enough. We're not cool
Norwegian.
enough. We don't have groove.
Yeah. By the way, if there's any media sailing, or at least media anything for Aqua when it gets here to Canaveral, let me know, because that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, Robbie, you're gonna
Hook a
Back
brother
me.
up.
At 3 hookups.
But yeah, so
But yeah,
moving on from the, I guess, the Sun class over to, we're getting a little bit bigger. We're going to the is it the Star class or the Dawn class? There's like just the two of those in that one.
and then Dawn.
They're technically different from the
Yeah.
Jewel class, which are like maybe 1,000 tons bigger.
He's frozen, but I think it's Star.
Star class. Okay, I thought I
Yeah.
knew that. I thought that was the one that was the newer one, but
hmm
those are yeah, those are interesting ships. Those are still more of those like old school traditional vibes on ships that you don't really get on some of these new ones, especially now like Epic and Getaway and.
Oh, 100%.
But those still are kind of doing more open jaw type cruises and just more exotic cruises. But at the same time, they're mixing them in. We have Jade.
'Cause I think Star's doing what? Ireland and Iceland, I could be wrong.
I think Robbie did that on Star last year, didn't he?
Oh, really?
Yeah, I did that in 2022. It was an open loop as well, from like Iceland to Southampton, and we stopped in like Norway and places like that.
That's awesome.
That's amazing.
For real.
But like besides the Breakaway Plus class, I'd say the Dawn class is my next favorite.
Really?
Like my second favorite class of ship.
Yeah. I think once we get to the Breakaway Plus, that is literally one of my. I mean, Oasis class kind of has that like that spot for me. My sister won't stop calling me.
Well, tell Kiki.
Calling us.
Does she not know what time of the week it is?
You should be on the next podcast.
Right.
Anyways, yeah. Anyways, so yeah, once we get like to the Breakaway Plus, I'm excited for that one because that's like literally one of my favorite ship classes and just like overall designs of anything like ever. But
I agree.
Yeah, with
Yeah.
it's kind of interesting though that we have the Jade on cruises out of Canaveral during the summertime. The fact that we got a Norwegian ship during the summer, cool, but like the Jade is like the last ship I would expect out of Canaveral, and for one, Canaveral doesn't really like the smaller ships, but at the same time, Norwegian doesn't really put ships here in the summer, so it's kind of like one of those really weird summers.
Right. It was like a few summers ago when they put Getaway here because she was supposed to be in think Russia.
Oh, that was awesome.
She
That's
was only
right.
here
Yeah,
for, like,
up in
a month and a
Sweden
half,
and stuff.
but, yeah,
I think that was what I think Robbie may have been. That was when he went ship spotting with us. Was
yeah,
that
he,
year.
Robbie came in on the getaway. That's
Yep.
right.
That was awesome.
That was
We, like,
I think that was
Yeah,
after she
that
moved back up to New York, though.
yeah.
Yeah, it was like her third sailing back from New York, and it was right after COVID, and it was the getaway, which can hold pretty much 4,000, 4,500 people.
Yeah.
We had 550 people on the ship that week.
Oh my god.
It's crazy.
That's insane. I couldn't imagine. Actually, that's what it felt like on Mariner, but I'm sure we had probably more than 500 on Mariner.
I think we were still under 1,000 though.
Yeah, we were. That was like one of the first few sailings after COVID, which is kind of awesome.
Yeah, it was wild. None of those for the getaway from New York filled up at all.
Oh, I bet those were kind of last minute too, because they canceled that season, so they kind of just like had to. I remember those prices being crazy.
Well, same thing happened with Epic this past year.
Yeah, that's true.
It was a 9-day cruise. I think I paid like $600.
Oh my god,
That is insane.
Jeez.
Yeah,
that's crazy. Brady again.
and most of
with
that was obviously the port fees.
Yeah, we like to run you
hate
your wallet's dry. They got to pay for that new terminal. All right,
For
2 new
real.
terminals actually. 2 new terminals. They said this one ain't getting done quick enough. Let's build another. Well, Brady with another $2 super chat says, "Oh, wittily obligatory super chat."
Wittily.
Wittily. But yeah, back to like the Star and the Jewel class though. Those are still kind of more the exotic itineraries. They're definitely getting there up there in size though. They're not quite 100,000. I think they're hanging around 90,000 or so.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, around there.
Okay, so what's the difference between the Star class and the Jewel class? Because I know there's like barely a difference, but they separated them like into 2 different classes. Like,
Yeah, well, the Star and the Dawn, they have like the stadium seating on the pool deck.
Okay.
There was never enough room for the like water slides or anything. They have 1 main pool versus 2 on the Jewel class.
okay,
And at the time when they were first built, they both had that like kiddie aqua park in the back, which they've since converted on Star to Spice H2O, which is awesome.
nice. Yeah, I've always like wondered. I noticed the stadium seating, but I was like, what is the difference between those? Because it, to me, I always thought of like the Carnival Destiny versus the Carnival Triumph, and how they called them the Destiny class and the Triumph class. I was like, there's 1,000 tons. I don't know what the difference is.
The Star and the Dawn still have the atrium too with the glass elevators.
Oh, and the
Jewel class doesn't.
really, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And the
Jewel class just has the 3-level thing.
The
Yeah,
6,
Jewel
7,
class
8.
is more similar to
Yeah.
like Breakaway
Interesting. I
in
didn't
terms
know
of
that.
like atrium.
It's
I
very
need to get on
nice.
that class. I always feel like I go for the bigger ships, but I feel like I really want to try that class just to do it, or at least get on, just to.
Mhm.
And there's no
see.
Haven on Dawn and Star either.
Interesting. So it's definitely. I feel like it's more of a. They built the first 2 and then went, oh, we can do a little bit more with this, and so slightly bigger and no elevators, things like, or no no glass elevators at least. They definitely have elevators. But
No elevators.
None.
it says it's small enough you're walking, old man.
Right.
But yeah, it's cool though that like it's one of those mid-gen refreshes that almost like the Oasis class where each one kind of got a little bit different in a sense. So that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
And Brady with another $5 says, Robbie, what would you rate the Joy out of 10?
Besides Escape, Joy is my second favorite Breakaway Plus class, so I'd give it like a 9, 8.5, 9.
That is good
Nice.
to hear. With the
Obviously,
rest
they
of
were
us,
10 out of 10, but
how many times have you been on Escape?
50, 54, 53, 54.
Oh my!
54.
I haven't even been on that many
What?
cruises lifetime. I'm pushing 50 this year, but like,
Yeah.
I've never. Oh my god!
Robbie,
Just on
I'm
the escape.
Something around there.
That's insane.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
Putting us
I
to
knew the number was
shame.
up there. I wasn't expecting 54. I thought it was like 30.
Jeez.
So how many? Okay, how many nights, Mr. Ambassador, are you on NCL?
I didn't catch that. I like just came back in. It keeps going in and out.
I said, Mr. Ambassador, how many nights are you up to, knowing that you're at 54 just on the escape alone?
He go.
Lost him again.
Maybe,
He
maybe
go. I
not.
don't want to answer that. Oh.
I hear you. Does that mean I'm back?
There you go.
Okay.
Do I need to ask again?
I still didn't catch it.
I said, so being Mr. Ambassador, how many nights are you up to now that I know you've been on escape 54 times?
So I just recently, back in April on the escape, crossed 1,000 days with Norwegian.
Holy, oh my god.
Makes me sick. Makes me
That's a lot of
sick.
days. That's a lot of
like-
days.
I'm at like 75 on Royal, so it's pretty cool.
That's
Yeah, I'm not
insane.
sure. I know either
Sure, Brandon, I
you
guess.
probably saw the picture of the cake. They brought out this giant cake, and it was numbers. It was 1000, all with like it was a cake, and it was huge, and it filled up the entire table.
All right, well,
Wow.
I'm only doing Norwegian from now on. I'm trying to do that.
Yeah, I'm also trying to get 1,000 nights and get a big cake.
I want to.
cake.
I want to do
It was
one
like
of the
those
Prima
videos,
classes
is
so
it-
bad. So
Cake or not, like cake or no
cake
cake.
or not, the giant number. Yeah, that's what they did. They rolled out the cake and they're like, "All right, time to figure it out." And slice into the side of the ship. All right, is this cake?
Yummy.
So now we're kind of moving more towards the newer ships and I guess the bigger ships. Norwegian Epic, which is the lovely oddball of the fleet. I feel like oddball is probably being a little nice to the Epic too. Wasn't she supposed to get a sister ship originally?
Yeah, there was originally 2 ordered.
Interesting. They're probably looking back, going, "Huh, probably best that there's only one."
Honestly, though, if they ever did build a second, I know they won't. But if they did, and they just made the staterooms like normal staterooms, it would honestly be a really nice ship.
Mm-hmm.
But the staterooms are just like what is that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I love
I think they
the.
had plans to keep it in Europe. I think that's why they did that, because it's more of like a European shower and like bathroom
Gotcha.
situation.
That makes a lot of sense. How
Yeah, they
open
gotta-
those bathrooms are. That it sounds very European.
It's very weird.
But I always love the times that they try to fit that thing into New York, because I know it is a job and a half to get that thing into New York or some of those terminals.
That's an understatement. I mean, it's wild when Epic comes to New York.
Yeah, because they have to drop all of the lifeboats on that one side,
Yeah.
don't they? So what do they
All
just
the
circle the
lifeboats
ship?
on the starboard side have to be dropped,
That's
and they
crazy.
kind of hang out in the river after they depart and bring all the lifeboats back.
Hey.
Norwegian is like the only cruise line that I know of that has to do weird stuff like that, and it's always constrictions from the lifeboats that cause it. Like the Prima couldn't dock at 10 in Canaveral because of the lifeboats. That's why Aqua's
they
going to
just got
5
that
too.
awkward height. It's like, being just not tall enough to ride the roller coaster.
Right.
You had to come off in some little platform shoes and be like, all right, am I tall enough now?
No.
No.
No, your lifeboats still stick out too far.
You still stuck.
Go home, Prima. Your lifeboats are sticking out.
Yeah.
Epic's lifeboats literally look like they're just thumbtacked onto the side. They look like they're held on probably less than the balconies on the fantasy class from Carnival.
Yeah, they're wild.
The
Like,
the fantasy
they're
class
huge.
Carnival ships, the first ones they did, it looks like they just took coat hangers and just went yoink onto the side of the
Literally.
windows. But yeah, the Epic, because it literally just like looks like just giant pills almost like glued to the side of it.
I think
Yeah.
Epic. I don't know if you heard me when I said this before I cut out again, but the Epic lifeboats I think have the biggest capacity fleet wide. I think they're very similar
Really?
to like Oasis Allure lifeboats. They're like
That's impressive,
they're pretty
actually.
massive if you're standing under them.
They were pretty big. They're like little spaceships, little space pods.
Yeah. They're kind of like,
Yeah.
They're very
aren't they like multicolored? Well, I know they're like supposed to be like white on the bottom, but like isn't
like
one
red.
like the
There's
front
like
half
red
red?
and white. It's very weird.
Yeah,
cool, though.
Norwegian does
Looks
the red
unique.
lifeboats.
Interesting.
I don't know why they changed the size though, but oh well.
Yeah. But Epic has like the big Spice H2O area in the back. They've got all the big water slides. They kind of have like a nice mix between like some of the stuff that the older ships have, but implemented a lot of just like the newer modern things. Well, at least at the time, back in 2009, 8 when it came out.
Yeah.
It was definitely very modern for its time, but I think now, of course, kind of like Oasis and Allure showing their age, just because of when they came out.
Right.
But it's always a ship that I've wanted to try, just to do it. I know that's kind of why Justin went on it recently. But
It
if they ever
is.
did like
I wanted to go on it since it came out.
if they ever did like a 3-night on it, like putting it in Canaveral, I'd probably try to do it just to say I did
I'm
it.
telling you, she would be a perfect ship for 3 and 4 nights.
Honestly, I think so too.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good idea.
If Norwegian was to ever like really focus in on that market, I feel like that would probably be a perfect ship for it.
Yeah.
But I feel like that ship can also like be the final nail in the coffin for their 3 and 4 nights. They're like still trying to recoup in that market.
Yeah.
It can either be like super good or like super bad if Epic was to do it.
I feel like that's Epic on any market.
Also
True.
true.
It would probably do really well on like any itinerary, but at the same time, it would probably ruin that itinerary if they didn't execute flawlessly.
And I also feel like the clientele on the 3 and 4 night cruises just kind of have that I don't care attitude. I think they're just
Yeah.
looking to go somewhere.
Yeah.
So you also kind of have to weigh in on that because
Yeah.
do people really care what ship they're on? Like obviously, like we
That's
all
true.
do, but, like
Utopia is a
For the-
little different story, but yeah, I definitely think so. Like the people that
Yeah.
like the people that go Carnival, they over Utopia, they're just going to have a good time. But there's I think Royal Caribbean's kind of like just taken that and been like, yeah, well now we have an okay itinerary now that we have a really cool private island and a semi decent
Agreed.
Nassau finally, and now we have a really cool ship on that, even though it's only for 3 days, but. And then like there's the other half where it's like Carnival where they're like, all right, let's just go to Nassau for the weekend.
yeah.
But yeah, Epic's a very cool ship, but very, very interesting and unique ship. It's probably, like I mentioned earlier, I feel like it's probably a good thing that the second one didn't come around, but it also would have been pretty cool to see if they would have had more than one of those.
Agreed.
Sure.
But moving on to the Breakaway and the Getaway, I feel like those really like kind of pulled NCL to where they're at right now. I feel
Agreed.
like that was kind of the start of it all.
Yeah.
The Breakaway was probably one of their best. Well, it kind of it brought in all of those, but I feel like the Breakaway was probably the best thing that's ever happened to them for like the longest time.
Yeah. Breakaway was also the first ever purpose built ship. It was built for the New York market, and it was here in New York for 5 or 6
Ever.
years before it even went anywhere else.
Mhm.
Right. Yeah, I was surprised they ever even decided to pull it out of there.
Yeah.
Coming back this year. She's doing
That's true.
a season or 2 here.
I'm actually
So,
really excited to
but
see her in Canaveral.
then again, she hasn't been back since. So
Yeah. Hi, Rachel.
Rachel.
Just saw the door open in the background.
What if I was being robbed? What if I was being what if I was being mugged right now?
I would have said hi to them too.
Oh, baby.
Hello, burglars.
Hello, Mr. Robber.
On 4K,
Take
literally.
everything.
But yeah, that was like the first time that NCL really like kind of pushed towards something a little bit different than their old school, like more traditional style cruising. And they had like a partnership with Nickelodeon back in that point too, didn't they?
Yeah, because the water
Yeah,
park's
yeah.
still Nickelodeon.
Yeah, I remember I
Yeah,
took a
they still
selfie with
have
SpongeBob on the getaway.
everything. Yeah.
I actually went on the getaway when it was like brand new. It was maybe fourth, fifth sailing or something like that out of Miami. But that was actually I mean, I've been on it twice, but that was a really nice ship. I liked the getaway.
Yeah, it was when it first came out, I don't know if you recall this, but it was chartered by Bud Light
Yes.
You're right.
for the Super Bowl.
For
In
the
New
Super
York,
Bowl.
right?
That was supposed to be the one time those two ships ever met.
Yep.
Yep.
I remember
Because
that.
they purpose built both of those, and then now they're just doing
Mhm.
whatever. So like it's happened maybe a couple times, which I would love to see that in person. That would actually be super cool to see. But
Yeah, I think the only other time that they met up together was just recently. I think Breakaway was doing the Miami sailings and Getaway was sailing from New York, and they both met up in Amber Cove.
that's so
sick.
cool. That
Interesting.
is so cool.
Yeah.
I would love, yeah, that would be so cool to see. I don't think it'll ever happen again. It may happen again. I don't know, but if it ever does, I kind of want to get on that sailing, just to
it
see
was
that.
really cool when they were in New York together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It feels
because
like
it was like the
forever.
Super Bowl that year, wasn't it?
Yeah. They like the whole
Yeah,
ship
Super
became
Bowl
like
was
a
in
Bud
Jersey
Light
at
thing.
Giant Stadium.
That's so cool. Actually, Brady asks if there's any plans to upgrade the private island. I know there was kind of some talks about the pier going in.
Yeah, it's confirmed. They announced it like a couple weeks ago for the pier.
Nice. I feel like that's long overdue.
Yeah,
100%.
long overdue. Just from what I hear, a ton of work to get it like finalized.
Yeah, because I know at first it was like there were some issues with the pier in Coco Cay at first, and that was kind of why they couldn't do it. Was that right?
Yeah.
You good over there,
Well,
Justin?
The restriction.
He's dying. He's dying. He's dead. Well,
You're
wasn't
drugging me,
it?
boys.
It's the environmental people, just like in Tampa about the stupid manatees.
Hey,
Who cares?
show
Build the
some
pier.
respect for the manatees.
Like you care.
I do care. They're one of me. Little sea cows.
Justin is a manatee.
I
That's
am
why
a
he got his
human
picture with the
manatee.
mermaid.
I love mermaids.
It makes sense now. The puzzle pieces are finally coming together. I
It
got
all
the
makes
corner
sense.
pieces.
Yeah, I was adopted from the sea.
Yeah, that's where you were adopted from.
Got
And then you
it.
ended up in this nice big house in South Florida.
That's right.
My child
Just the way I like it.
Mickey
services
baby
the
pulled you right out of the ocean.
What the hell is this? It's
Oh
so
my God.
ugly. It stinks. Oh, you got to text him. It's his birthday today.
I did.
Okay, good.
Brady with
Oh my God,
Brady with
Brady.
25. Shout out Big Pookie and his fellow manatees.
Thanks, Brady. We appreciate all the support.
I love
Cookie the manatee.
Pookie the manatee. He's no longer the goat. He's the manatee.
Hey, yes, of course. Sweet.
But yeah, like I guess focusing back on like Breakaway and Getaway, it was cool though. Yeah, because like both of those were purposely built ships for those markets. You know, of course, New York being Breakaway and then Getaway getting Miami. I like,
And
you know,
Pitbull.
they did a really good job with like theming those two ships around those two. It's kind of weird seeing them in other places now. But whenever they're in those specific markets again, which is kind of rare now, it's really cool to see, you know, just how well they fit in there.
I mean,
Yeah, totally.
unfortunately, we were supposed to be on Viva's inaugural last year in Greece, and we got moved to Getaway. I mean, I think it's a perfect ship for over there, but it still is perfect for Europe. I mean, those ships, plenty of sun space. And I know I was going to wait for this to talk about it during the Breakaway Plus, but Norwegian and their stupid paying for deck chairs and deck space, they got to stop it.
Oh,
I
Vibe.
can't do it. If I Beach Club,
Yeah.
the Haven, there's no deck space. But we'll get to that when we get to Encore and all the other ones.
Yeah, I've heard. I haven't sailed on the Prima class, but I hear that's like an issue on the Prima class is there's just like no deck space.
Yeah, definitely on Prima.
Yeah. But I feel like maybe Aqua's a step in the right direction, but we'll get that. Well, you know, we'll get there in a minute. But moving to the Breakaway Plus, though, I like those are probably some of the best. I think like the only way to have made the Breakaway class better was to make them bigger, and I mean, obviously that's exactly what they did. And you know, with the refresh on the design when you know Joy came out, I feel like that's probably one of the best designs
the
for
best.
NCL, and honestly, the entire industry. Like the layout and everything on those ships is just really well done.
Yeah, Breakaway Plus is easily my favorite class.
Yeah. So you said Escape is clearly your favorite. But so what differentiates the Escape over the other Breakaway Plus? Is it just something all the way down to like crew, or is it more just like certain aspects around the ship?
For me, it's the crew. I mean, wise, obviously the Joy, the Bliss, and the Encore are a little bit more equipped to handle the crowds. Escape doesn't have the observation lounge, and I know they just took half of the observation lounge here out of the Joy, and they put in cabins on the port side. But you still have the whole starboard side. Haven, it really separates people. They have that forward-facing horizon lounge, which really takes some of the stress out of the main Haven lounge, which is always a big complaint. Never enough seats. So I think they made some positive changes from the Escape.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like, yeah, again, it's one of those just random like refreshes to a design, and they just took everything that was good and just kind of tweaked it a little bit and made it better, and took what was, you know, maybe a pain point and, you know, just mixed it up to fill in those gaps. I always thought it was crazy. I mean, I thought the roller coaster on a cruise ship, but I definitely didn't think I'd see a go-kart track on a ship before a roller coaster. The fact that they were able to pull something like that off is pretty impressive. Even, you know, a couple years ago when they first did it.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm kind of happy that they're not going, continuing on with that, because I feel like once a couple of ships have it, really,
they have it and move along.
doesn't have to have it.
Right. And like I worked at a go-kart track and like a racetrack in college, and like I know how expensive maintenance can get on go-karts. Like I always wondered, like, why are they putting it on all of these ships? Because it's gonna get really expensive down the road to do. But of course they charge, so I mean they're definitely making their money back off of them. But still, it's a very expensive thing to have up there.
Very.
Yeah.
It is cool though, nonetheless. Like I love, you know, racing and, you know, go-karts, cars, all that type of thing. So it's definitely right up my alley. But, you know, like mentioned earlier, I think it's cool to have on a couple ships, but once it's run its course, I think it really only belonged on the Breakaway Plus. I don't think it needed to make its way to Prima. So good to see.
And I also don't think that they should have taken Spice H2O away because I think that was something that they had that was unique to them for stupid laser tag.
Yeah, I feel like laser tag on the Bliss being where it was fine where it was at.
Fine. Yeah, on Bliss and Joy, it's fine, but on Encore to take away that space,
Yeah,
I think that was a step in the wrong direction.
yeah, because that's like
So
the
I can actually touch
whole.
on that too. Joy doesn't have laser tag anymore. It became Vibe.
That is right.
Galaxy Pavilion here on Joy turns into the Thermal Suite.
I'm
and then
upset about
more
that.
observation lounge.
That I actually wanted to do was Galaxy Pavilion. That is one thing I'm upset
And
about.
actually, Encore, they're taking out the laser tag next dry dock and putting Spice.
Oh, you heard it here first, folks. They're listening.
Wait, what did he say? He cut out.
Oh, he said the laser tag is coming out of Encore during the next dry dock. When is that?
Oh, very nice.
This
And
year?
what are they
Next
putting?
year?
I think 26.
Okay,
Wait, when did Encore come out? 21?
19
2,
or
3, 4,
20.
5.
Yeah,
So
2019.
yeah, 26.
Yeah.
Cool.
So they're putting Spice
Spice.
H2O back.
It might be this year, actually.
Yeah,
This year, next
she
year?
came out end of 2019. It was like December of 2019. She just came out alongside Panorama, and then like 2 months later, the shutdown happened. So
Yeah.
they were like brand new.
I know
That's
it's
cool,
soon.
though. That's cool. I did not know that.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, I know that was a big. Yeah, that was one of those weird decisions with Encore. At first I thought it was really cool because I was a little bit younger. I was in my early 20s. Now I feel a little bit older, and now I feel like a boomer. And I'm in my late 20s, but I think back then I thought it was really cool because I really liked it on the Bliss, but yeah, now I'm like, it probably would have been cool to have the Spice H2O back there, especially. I think if they were to have done it on Encore, they should have just done it like they did the Bliss and the Joy, and not do the whole back area. That was a little too much, I think.
Yeah, because isn't the Vibe Beach Club where the laser tag used to be? So that deck space didn't even benefit normal people who didn't want to pay for extra crap.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
yeah.
I know they got to make their money, but still, no, unacceptable.
Unacceptable. So now moving to kind of like the latest and greatest, the Prima class. I feel like I've heard mixed reviews about it, but overall, I mean, I hear pretty decent things about it overall. But I definitely deck space is one of those big things. But what are your thoughts on the Prima class?
I'm a fan. I think it needs some tweaking when going to Aqua, but
Yeah,
I think it's in the right direction.
I hear there's a lot of complaints just about like they put a lot of stuff like almost everything from the Encore but into a smaller ship so it feels tighter. Is that
Pretty much
accurate? Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So I feel like maybe with Aqua and the next set of Prima ships being a little bit bigger, hopefully that kind of alleviates that pain point.
Hopefully.
With Prima, it was the venues. There was just not enough seating.
Oh, really?
Did they change
Okay.
it for the Viva? I heard they made some changes.
Yeah, it was all very minor. They made the Indulge a little bit bigger, but pretty much structurally it's the same exact setup.
Interesting. And then other than just size and the elimination of a go-kart track, is there any big things coming to Aqua? Or...
Nothing notably. It's really just going to be that plus size Prima.
Okay.
Minus the go-kart, which is a huge change because that really does free up a ton of deck space.
It really does. That I feel like the go-kart needed to stop at the Encore, especially how big they made the go-kart track on the Prima and the Viva. But I was surprised when they said that was going to come back. I know they made the multi-level design, which is cool, but I feel like it's still just a little bit too small of a ship, when you're low on deck space.
Yeah. And I think itinerary-wise, what they're doing with those ships, where Prima's like all over the place and can't stay somewhere for more than 2 months, and is in Iceland and Galveston and all the above, Canaveral. I like it. Viva, same thing. Europe and San Juan. I think that's great because those markets really need kind of a newer ship like that.
I was surprised that Viva is going to go to Galveston, of all places.
Yeah, I don't support that.
That's such a limited like market and like limited, home port to be in, especially for a ship that's kind of made for, something that the older ships are more made for, is that more traditional, just like exploration type of cruising.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Prima is that warm weather type ship. So Iceland, I always thought was an interesting market for Prima.
Yeah, that's.
But it seems to do good over there. I think. I'd imagine they've been sending it there for ever since she came out, and all the other ships there.
I mean,
so.
I did the Prima, and it was freezing, and everybody was inside.
There's really not a whole lot of indoor spaces on that class. It's like the Seaside.
Right.
In that same project, it focuses on the
Exactly.
outdoors.
Outside, yeah.
Yeah. Brady, thank you again for the $2. Said manatees will be in the next part of the Dimitri saga.
I can't wait.
Out.
Oh,
Yeah, pushing outside.
yeah. Yeah, that's interesting, that they've done that, because everything on, especially like the Seaside, coming from that idea and that project out of Fincantieri, it's surprising that they're putting them in cold weather climates.
Right.
Then Aqua's going to New York for a little bit too. I know she's coming to Canaveral, which I'm very excited for. But she's mostly going to stay in Florida a little bit, other than like a short stint in New York, right?
Yeah, I mean, Aqua's pretty much staying in the U.S. full time.
I love to hear that. Because that's one thing.
Yeah, there's no plan in New York or anywhere else.
Right. And then the one after Aqua is coming the following year? In 26?
What was that? I think I cut out.
The one after Aqua, that's coming in 2026. Is that right?
Oh, cut out again. Does he know the formula?
Yeah.
Does he know what they're doing? The Norwegian is blocking him from saying
They are listening in.
Cut out right a very convenient moment. Norwegian said he's telling us too much. But that one's slated for 26 though, isn't it?
Yeah, one every year till 2029.
That's all. And then 2030 is that first big boy, isn't it?
Yes, and I actually just found out more information about that this week. They're going to be the 250,000-ish, give or take.
Whoa, 250?
That's
crazy.
The word.
Wow.
Wow. What a Wednesday.
Oh my god.
Midweek madness.
Wow.
That's the word on the street.
Oh my god.
I want to live on the street.
I did not. I wasn't expecting that to be said publicly on the chat. Oh my gosh. That's awesome.
Crazy.
That's the
Oh
word.
my god.
I can't confirm or deny, but that's what everyone's saying.
I know
Wow.
MSC was looking at that. I didn't realize. Wow. That's
Norwegian
crazy.
said, screw it. We're going big.
They said we
But the
downsized a
goal is
little
still
bit.
Low guest capacity.
That I
What?
really love.
I think they want to max out at like 5,000.
That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, Icon being, close to 250, that really didn't feel that crazy of a guest capacity. I never really felt overcrowded unless it was like, the big, 80s party that they do down on the promenades in Royal Caribbean. you know, other than like that night when everybody was confined down into the one part of the promenade, other than that, like I never really felt overcrowded on Icon. So if they were able to pull off a low guest capacity like that with an even bigger ship, that would be incredible.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Yeah, I'd love to see how that goes.
So wait, circle around, do wrap around. Do we know the 2026 Prima Plus class ship name? Question mark.
It's probably going to be one of the ones that they have trademarked. I'm not quite sure which one. I think they're sticking with those. I don't think they're changing that up.
I was going to look them up.
I'm about to go look up what's trademarked.
I think the next one was supposed to be Bella. If I'm not
Okay.
mistaken.
I remember.
They're all going to end with
all
A.
those names. It's like Bella, Aqua, Ultima, Umbra.
Oh, I like Ultima.
I like
and Luna. And Luna.
I bet you
Norwegian Luna.
I bet you Ultima is going to be the last one.
Yeah, that'd be great.
That would be a good way to end out the class.
I think Ultima.
Yep. He's saying too much. He's cutting out again.
Too much.
They got him. They got him again.
He's saying too much. He keeps cutting out again. What were you saying about Ultima?
Oh, did he go again?
We
let him go.
Am I back yet?
There you go.
Yeah,
there you go. What was that about Ultima?
I think it's going to be that last ship in 2029. I think they're going to finish out Prima Plus with Ultima.
I think that's a really good name for a final, like a lasting class type of ship, especially one like that, because those last two are going to be bigger than Aqua, right? It's like Prima, and then Prima Plus is like 10%, and then 20% for the last two.
Yeah,
so
I think each pair is going to be 10% bigger than the last.
Nice. So like 170-ish. So like I think the last two should be around, if not bigger than Encore, right?
I think it'll be pretty similar to Encore. I'm not sure if it'll be bigger.
Interesting.
But it'll be like a similar size. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So the names: Umbra, Ultima, Bella, Aqua, Luna, and Vela.
I remember you told us Umbra You told us Umbra a long time ago. I thought that was what Aqua was going to be at one point.
I know. Before Frank Del Rio left, there was a whole big list of names, and I think I've said this as well. Viva was supposed to have a completely different hull art than what it actually has.
She should have.
And it was a very last minute, like almost within 14 days, it completely changed. And Norwegian had to like buy their way out of their contract with Vic and Thierry to make those changes to the plans for name, paint, just hull art, everything changed because they basically, in a nutshell, cold feet with the hull art that they had chosen for Viva originally.
Do you have a picture of that by chance? I'm curious.
No, I think I sent like a while back when we were talking about this, I sent a picture of like obviously not of the ship, but like an idea of what they were going for. I forget what it was called. There was a specific name for the pattern that they were going to use.
Interesting.
It has like the white and the black lines. I don't want to say like battleship pattern, but it was something along those lines.
That's kind of cool. Brady with a $6.90 super chat says, Robbie with the info dropping equals goat status. I love you, Brady.
True. Very true.
Very true. But yeah, that like for Viva, I don't know. That was like my biggest thing against Viva. It almost seemed lazy because it was the exact same. It's just like blue to purple is really the only difference, right? Between her and Prima.
Seems so.
That was like my biggest thing. I was like, oh, they just got really lazy with it because they've never done that before. They've never done identical paint jobs like that.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But I do like Aqua's though. It reminds me of the Getaway. It's very just abstract and colorful.
I like it a lot.
Yeah. So
And
is it,
I was also told with Viva, when they posted all the marketing material, I don't know if you remember when they posted the very first rendering of Viva, it had the squiggles in the water,
hmm
and then the exclamation part had the squiggles in it. It was very similar. The hull art was supposed to match that marketing, and they just didn't have enough time to change the marketing materials
ah,
to what the ship was actually going to have. I'm just looking for the name of what the pattern was called.
interesting. They were speaking of repainting ships and like the hull art. Weren't they supposed to do that with Breakaway whenever she first left New York?
I
I
think
see
so.
two different ones online. There's like swoops, and then the other one has like a completely different scheme.
Interesting.
Yeah, like one's a marketing material and it looks completely different.
Hmm.
Yeah, so Viva, I just found it. It's called Dazzle Paint. So if you look up
Dazzle.
like ship Dazzle Paint, it's like very straightforward.
Oh, I see. Interesting. Oh.
That's really cool. I wish I would have done that. Come on,
And
NCO.
it was supposed to be like black and white.
Okay, that actually would have been kind of cool. A black and white paint job would have been really cool. I would have really liked that. But so they're not going to do the same thing with the next one though. They're not gonna copy the aqua for the next one. Hopefully.
I don't think so. No, I
Good.
think they're going
I
back
hope not.
to making them original. But I think that was the one big bummer with Viva. You know, it should have really been on its own, like a standout.
Oh,
It's
that's
too similar
really
to Prima,
cool.
all the way down to the art.
Yeah. It's really just a change of colors. Really.
Basically, yeah. Hmm.
That's I mean, yeah. I wish they would have yeah, seeing that picture you just sent, I feel like that would have been really cool to see on that ship. I'm surprised
Yeah.
they would have been able to get away with it if that may have been part of it. Because
Yeah,
it's
it
like
was
a
finalized down to the trademarks.
wow. That's crazy.
And then right before they published the marketing materials, they changed it.
Wow.
Crazy.
Kind of wish they went through with that. That would have been really neat to see. But yeah. So with that, I think we're at a good stopping point. I think we dove into pretty much each and every ship, or at least their classes and stuff like that, and even got a little bit of an info drop on their next gen project, which is very unexpected and pretty cool.
I love it.
But yeah, thank you all for tuning in for the podcast, those who are here live, and for those who are listening on Apple, Spotify, wherever you may be. Thank you for hanging out, and thanks for listening, and we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Like